Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm BFG, and this is Web3 Magic Podcast, where I talk with founders of interesting projects which are using blockchain for anything. And today we are going to talk with Asdf about his project, which is called Megapod, and it's an online lottery. It's the first lottery founder I have on the pod, and I'm just curious even whether it's even legal, but we'll get into that. Welcome, Asdf.
Thanks for having me on the pod.
Great. So we're not going to jump into legal part directly. I am going to start with my obvious questions. So I always ask founders, how did you get to crypto? Was it something, you spent your time in for years, or is it something recent? What was the story?
Yeah. A lot of how I got into crypto has evolved quite a bit. I mean, initially I was dipping my toes into Bitcoin, just trying it out. Had a lot of very different opinions back then, and over time they've transformed and evolved. I'm sure yours have too. I think we all learn from our initial experiences, and then we evolve our thinking. So I actually was in college. So this is 2013. I read this article that said Bitcoin is going to be even bigger than the internet. And I was like, there's no way that's possible. Okay, at the very least, I gotta read this article. It was a very long article. I don't think I actually read it. But I tried reading it. And then, the price of Bitcoin rose, and I was talking to my friends, and they're like, oh, you talked about Bitcoin, right? The price of Bitcoin, skyrocketed. Do you know about this? I didn't buy anything, though. So that was, my first, introduction to what Bitcoin was, just, the price going really high up, and then it plummeted. Never bought any. But I remember also reading about the DAO hack on Ethereum 2015. I don't know if you remember any of that. Back then,
Big
back
stuff.
then I was like, I was like, that's what they should deserve. Why did they create a Bitcoin competitor? I was like, this isn't gonna work. Ethereum's not gonna work. 2017, the ICO stuff started happening, and prices were going up. And I was like, okay, I was working at Amazon back then, as a software engineer, and I hated my corporate job. I was like, I'm such a slave here. There's nothing, the best thing that's gonna ever happen to me is that I'm gonna become a manager. And I was like, you know what? I've been looking at this crypto thing for long enough. And, my dad worked he worked in the finance department in the government. So we talked a lot about financial stuff in our home. So I was like, maybe I should do something that I'm actually passionate about. And I wrote a letter to Andy Jassy, the CEO of Amazon.
There you go.
And I said, I don't like working for Amazon. And it was really stupid in retrospect. I think I just wanted him to remember my name. And then it was so funny. And then I jumped into the crypto world and quit my job at Amazon. Just one day went to the office and handed over them my laptop and be like, okay, I'm leaving. Really dramatically.
Leaving in style. Okay. Good
Yeah.
start.
Yeah. And then 2018 came around, prices dropped a lot. And then nobody was talking about crypto anymore. I don't know, things just started falling off. And and I started building a Bitcoin wallet. Turns out there's a million other Bitcoin wallets. That was a really humbling lesson. I was like, okay, this building a startup is hard. This is really hard.
Why wallet? What was the thinking behind building a wallet?
So I was still very I still had my original thesis that Bitcoin is the real crypto and everything else is just a distraction. And I was somebody has to build a wallet so people can start transacting, using Bitcoin. And I want to make it super easy for people to start paying each other in Bitcoin. So that was the original thinking. Yeah, that's my journey into. That's my first dipping into crypto. A lot has happened since then. This is 2018.
Right, 2018. So it took a lot of time actually, from 2013. 5 years before you sort of made a jump. Okay, cool. So now we are at 2018. You tried the wallet, and did you do anything after the wallet between the Megapod, or How did we end up with the
Oh,
lottery from the wallet?
sorry. I started giving my introduction of like how I got into this, but didn't talk much about like how I got into Megapod.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
I
the
can
next
quickly
step.
talk about, yeah. I mean, 20 to sort of like just let me maybe finish my quick journey. I'll like keep it short now.
Please, yeah.
Yeah. So 2018, I was, was suffering like money. I was seeing my money in my bank like going down and down until like it got to zero. I was on my brother's couch, and he hated me. He was like, "You need to get a job. Like, why are you staying over at my place?"
Right.
Um, and I was looking into NFTs. I was looking into like everything else. Like I was like, oh, okay, like this Bitcoin wallet thing definitely isn't gonna work. But let me explore other opportunities. At some point, I was like, okay, I need to quit. I need to like actually get a job. So one thing that I did realize was that you have to be in the Bay Area to like, I mean, if you can, Bay Area helps a lot.
Mm,
So or at least that was the thing that I had back then. I was like, I gotta move to the Bay Area. I don't know if that necessarily is
cool.
required. But anyways, I wanted to get a job. So I started like looking at jobs in the Bay Area, and I joined a startup in the Bay Area. Had nothing to do with crypto, but I was like, I gotta get a job.
Yeah.
So I started, working at like this like early stage startup. And I would go on walks with the CEO of the company, and we would talk about crypto.
Oh,
I would still like talk about crypto. Like the crypto was like, still like
nice.
heavily on my mind. I mean, at that point, even the CEO is like, I don't think it makes sense for you to like work at my company. And I started looking into like jobs again, like, just crypto related jobs. And Coinbase came around, and I joined Coinbase. So I worked at Coinbase from like, it had took me 2 years, by the way. So like I joined Coinbase in 2020, and from 2020 till 2022, for 2 years, actually 2 years and a half, like mid 2022, I worked at Coinbase. I have a lot of things to share, by the way, at Coinbase too, because I worked on some really cool projects there, including like I pitched a project to Brian Armstrong as well. And then like after Coinbase, I can talk about that maybe if you're curious. But after Coinbase, I had a friend. He built Cool Cats NFT. So he was
Right.
Evan Luzai. He's like one of the founders, and he started. We started chatting. I was like, I'm not sure what I want to do now, and I don't even know if I want to get into startups. So he convinced me to get back into it. And so I
Mm,
started working with him, and like we did an NFT launch, and then NFT started going down. And at that point, I was like, okay, I gotta get back into like, exploring more opportunities. And I started looking into account abstraction. I got really fascinated by, I have like an article, I write sometimes. So I have like an article on account abstraction that also got like a bunch of views. And then, yeah, I mean,
nice.
at some point, I started looking at consumer applications of crypto, which I'm like super passionate about, and finally get to Megapod. And the deal with Megapod is like I tried building a chess product, and the biggest learning takeaway from that was the ecosystem right now consists of degens, and you got to appeal to them. And I think that the easiest way to appeal to them is to build something that immediately clicks to them. And so gambling is like a product that just makes sense to them.
The
And
product
so
that
that's why
clicks,
the
basically.
goal is to build like the best consumer app possible. And like eventually, what would be nice is, you have like a app on your device, you click a button, super simple. You enter into a raffle, and then every day, some sort of lottery happens, and you might win. I think if you make it compelling enough and you make it interesting enough, you'll get like some people at the very least that are interested in being part of the lottery. And it's transparent. Like you're not gonna like, when you try to buy a ticket, from your local vendor, whoever is selling the tickets, you don't know what's actually going to happen. Like can you actually track what happens? You don't know what's happening. So I think crypto does make it, makes things better there.
This is such a crypto bubble thing to say. It's unbelievable. It's so I think so. I have some friends which are working in the gambling industry, and they
Mm.
always look at it from the other side, and they say, well, you go to like a casino next door, or you buy approved lottery from the state. So it's basically there is a state guarantee that whatever happens happens. Whether it is happening or not doesn't matter. You win, you get your money. Somebody will make sure about it. And then you come at me with the blockchain, and it's like, people are siphoning money left and right away from the things which are transparent. So who is going to guarantee that I'm going to win? And I'm like, it's a lottery. It doesn't really matter. It's just a lottery. Really? We are playing gambling and we want guarantees? I don't know. The only guarantee I want is that the house doesn't win 100% of the time. I think that's enough, all
But
the other things
that's
are
also
it's
that's
basically
also a guarantee.
bonus. Yeah. Okay, cool. You have a co-founder, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so
Patrick.
how did you come up with the lottery idea? Was it your idea? Was it his idea? You guys were looking for some like easy to build app or something which will be easy to use straight away?
Mm-hmm.
What was the process to narrow down to lottery?
Yeah, it was very, very organic, I would say. So basically, what happened was, like I mentioned before, I was building a chess product, and Patrick actually happens to be a Go player. So he played Go professionally, or like at the world stage or something. So he's very good at Go. My brother is like very heavily into chess. I'm not as much into chess, by the way, but my brother is. And so we were both talking about like games, and we had like some calls. And Patrick was building this lottery thing back at the time. So he was telling me about this lottery thing that he's building. And one of the things that I realized when I was working on the chess product was nobody cares about chess as much. I mean, people care about chess, but they don't care about Web3 chess. And I can talk up more about like what I when I was, but really actually like TLDR, the goal was, chess.com has all your ratings, has all your chess history. If you're a serious player of chess, you don't want chess.com to be making all the rules. And so it makes sense to like create a decentralized version of chess, but it's a different story trying to get users. So they wanted to like do something that actually people already in crypto cared about, and they cared a lot about like, just trying to make money. And so, yeah, like I was discussing with Patrick that, this chess thing, I'm not sure where it's going, but I have like a lot of ideas on like, how to like make a consumer focused application, how to make it such that, it's super simple. It's not going to be something that, you've seen, all these applications that you've seen before. It's going to be something unique. And so, from an experience standpoint, so it's going to look and feel different. And if you want me to do it, I can do it for you. And, we can like work on it together. And Patrick was actually looking for co-founders anyways, so it just worked out pretty well. Patrick has a background in product, but he knows how to code, which is something that I really respect. The fact that, you have like a product guy who's actually coding as well. He worked at Uniswap as well, like left Uniswap, so like had like a very cool background as well. So I thought that was a nice bonus.
Neat. So how did you guys met?
Yeah, so we met on a platform called Y Combinator Startup co-founder matching, so a co-founder dating platform.
Yeah. No, I know it.
That's when we chatted first, long time ago. And then I moved back to San Francisco, and I was like, since I moved back, I want to like network. I want to find all these people that are working on cool things, and like, I started chatting with Patrick then.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. Nice. Well, so I think we sort of interrogated the past enough. Tell us about the Megapod 9. So pretend I'm totally new. I've never heard about it. I know what the lottery is, but why this one is something I should be interested in? And should I be interested in it even if I'm not a crypto native person?
I think it should be. I think there's many reasons why it's interesting. I mean, you don't have to be the biggest degenerate gambling addict to like play the lottery game. I think you can just like try it out because it's fun. The tickets cost 0.001 ETH. Yesterday we had our first winner. Like we had another winner before, but this guy just was like who wasn't doxxed. Like he was willing to be doxxed basically. Like like the guy we had before just didn't like wanted to like come to the picture, like come up front and like claim that it was him who won. But this guy actually came up, so he was like, oh damn, I just put in like 0.007 ETH and like I won 2 point something ETH, and he was really happy about it. I mean, I would be too. Like he just won like $7,000. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So the lottery runs every day.
The lottery runs every day. So the mechanics of it works such that you have liquidity providers taking a lot of inspiration from Uniswap, but they have liquidity providers. and they sort of play as a house. So they're
Right.
investing their money by they pre-purchase tickets. So you come with liquidity providers, they pre-purchase tickets. So let's say, liquidity providers put in one each, and let's say you have like $1,000, 1,000 tickets, apologies. You have 1,000 tickets, and now users can come in, they can buy full 1,000 tickets. They can either buy they can buy like 2,000 tickets, they can buy 500 tickets, they can buy whatever amount that makes sense for them based on whatever demand they have. So if they buy 500 tickets, liquidity providers are now considered participants in the game too. Like they're actually the odds of them winning the lottery is as much as the players, because they're now effectively participating in the lottery. If the players purchase 2,000 tickets, so they purchase all 1,000 tickets that liquidity providers put up. Liquidity providers they get a cut from the fees, right? So there's like a small fee that we take from every ticket purchase. So liquidity providers earn from the fees. They have like zero risk, and they'll like make money from the fees. If they're playing in the game, then they have a risk of either winning or losing. And so if they have a risk of winning, they take the pot. I mean, everything is redistributed among LPs. If they lose, that's the only time when liquidity providers actually lose money. At the same time, we have this concept of stake, right? So like you can put up but then only 50% of it is staked. And so if it's 50%, you're going to lose 50% of that money. If you're staking 100%, you're going to lose 100% of your money. And we model this out. And when we model this out, we actually learned that, over time, the pot should grow and liquidity providers should make money over time. And then also the other advantage here is that the pot will always be, some size. So you're not starting from zero. When players come in to purchase tickets, they see like a pot size of 2 ETH. Right now we capped it. So by the way, it's like capped. We have a lot of interest from LPs that actually want to provide liquidity, but we want to make sure there's enough demand from the user side. And so we capped it to 3 ETH or something. I think we're often switching it up and tinkering with it.
Move, I think.
Yeah. So whenever if you go on Megapod, you'll see like a certain size of the jackpot that you can win every time. So that you always have a chance of winning something. So those are like how the mechanics work.
So what blockchain does it sit on?
It's on Blast.
On Blast, okay.
Yes.
And I assume you guys didn't put in any account abstraction, so I actually need ETH on Blast, right, to make it work?
You do. Right now, we haven't gotten into all those UX improvements yet. We're trying to prove out the product, and it's sort of working actually. The last couple of days, the ticket sales went down really low, and we're like, oh, how are we gonna get back? I think this is sort of dying. But then last couple of days, ticket purchasing is climbing up, so things are working, and that's all. We haven't done anything, and people are buying tickets.
I actually think we haven't mentioned that you launched very recently. When did you launch?
Oh yeah, when did we launch? Has it been a week? Has it been 2 weeks? Actually, I've been so heads down, just fixing things and
July 10th or something, right?
I think so. I think no, July 10th was the previous date that we communicated. Or actually, we did launch on July 10th.
Okay.
No, we launched on July 7th. Now I remember. Oh wow, it's been July 7th or 8th. It's already been 10 days.
Nice.
It feels unreal, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so you guys basically launched something like a beta product, right? Trying to see how it's going to work for both sides and how easy it is going to be to onboard LPs and players, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, because of the mechanics of how things work, there's so many variables here, right? So the LP cap, the ticket price, the ticket fee. We're not making any money. So we also want to add potential fee later on, but that's for much later. We want to make sure and then the stake percentages, the actual, how much money people actually put in. So there are so many things that you need to try out to make sure that your product is stable and there's enough demand that it just made sense to have a capped launch. That's what we're we can call it beta launch, but I think cap launch is a better word. So we have capped it. So it's capped at 3 ETH, or we adjust based on how we're seeing market demand. And it's capped. But at some point the goal is to keep raising the caps and hopefully we'll have enough interest that we can make it uncapped also.
Yeah, well, so and by the way, I encourage everybody who's interested in, playing or providing liquidity to actually go and check the docs. I've read the docs, and there are one of very few well-written docs, surprisingly. So you can actually understand what's going on or what is supposed to be going on. There are also like spreadsheets, I think, if I remember correctly, where you can model things. You can see how it's going to change if you add more money, less, whatever, stake different percentages. So it's very well done. Congratulations on that one.
Thank you.
It's
That's
a hat
all
trick
Patrick, by
for
the
sure.
way. So all the documentation, the
Yeah,
modeling, that's all Patrick.
impressive.
I'm on the dev side.
Okay, well, that's definitely impressive. Hat trick, Patrick. And I think anybody interested should definitely read it. One thing which struck me, honestly, was that I thought if you guys launch, there's going to be more LPs than players, was basically my guess. And you sort of confirmed it. Just, I guess, just because of the nature of the space. Yeah,
Yeah, nature of
it's
space,
always
and I
hard.
mean, it's also enticing for LPs if you think about it. Like, assuming
Yeah.
that you have like regular ticket purchases, LPs they're gonna make money regardless. You know, even if there's like more LPs, there might be a risk because like they might put in a lot of money and then one person can win all of it. That's all. There's always that risk.
Yeah.
But besides that, I think LPs like over time, you know, they're sort of more guaranteed to make money. So I think there's definitely been more interest from LPs. But we've been pushing our side to, you know, get as many players as we can. We've gotten more and more players, so it's working out. We have like an ambassador program, so like, you know, you get points for like referring others. We also have you know, like we have allocation from Blast Gold. So like most of the Blast Gold actually goes to the users, to the players. And so like if
Okay.
you play, yeah, sure, you might not win, but you still get like a blast gold. And that's real money. And then we're also pushing on things like push notifications and like, you know, trying to get users to download the app. So we actually have a PWA now. If you go on megapod.io on your phone, you can download the app as like you can download the thing as an app, right? And then you'll get push notifications whenever the lottery runs. We still have to like automate some of that stuff, but you'll get notifications. And so, you know, that's a nice way to re-engage with players and, you know, show them that, you know, if they won or not and all that, just to try to get like more and more players.
Right. Well, you know, I think honestly, from reading the documents, I think the LP side makes a lot of sense. And it is relatively, you know, there is always some risk, but it's relatively risk-free compared to potential APR. So the hard part will be to match the LPs with the big enough pot of players who engage regularly, which I think if you talk to anybody in the industry, it's always the case. It's like it's very easy to come up with a lottery and even get it approved. It's just really hard to sell it out because there is a lot of other lotteries going on. And, you know, we as people in crypto, we have a lot of ways how we can lose money. So this is just one of them. But that means, you know, you guys can be very creative. That's pretty cool. So what are the next plans for Megapod? Like what are we looking forward to in like 2024? This is a capped launch. Is there going to be like a big blast launch? What's the plan?
So many ideas. It's very hard to say anything at this stage. You know, we're just trying out this product. We're still validating everything. So like if I come here and I make all these like, you know, we have this roadmap and like this is what we're gonna do, that would just be plainly false. But I'll tell you what we're thinking. So there's a couple of things that we're thinking so there's one thing that's like coming up pretty soon, maybe like next week. So one thing that's like maybe we were targeting like, yeah, like next week. So we're gonna add more tokens. So I think we're gonna start off with like the blast token. So instead of like, you know, just purely putting in ETH, you can also put in like, you know, the lottery can also be with a certain token. And I think that also incentivizes like different communities to like feel like they're aligned with the product. So that's one. Second thing that we're working on and we are actively, there's a bunch of things that we're thinking about actually. Another thing that I'm actually personally passionate about is like, as I mentioned before, is the user experience. So you know, I think right now we're in Blast. There is this like technology developed by the Relay protocol, which is called like cross-chain executions. Cross-chain execution allows you to like execute on a chain where where you don't have funds, right? So we want to incorporate cross-chain execution. So, you know, right now it's a hurdle. If you're in Blast, then, you know, on Blast, then you don't have like Blast or you don't have like on Blast. And, you know, like how hard it is to like, you know, do all the bridging stuff. So we want to make it like super simple. So we're going to incorporate Relay. We're going to incorporate like a good like bridging experience so that, as a user, you can like use whatever funds that you have, and like you can use those funds to like do a transaction on the Blast chain. So it'll work sort of like, magic. It'll just work. Also, a couple other things that we're, thinking about. We haven't done too much thinking here, but, we definitely want to introduce this is, having privy or having this nice, wallet experience so that you don't have to like go to like, your MetaMask.
I would love that actually.
Yeah, I think if you think about it, we would need this when we want to branch out of like the core crypto users, because most core crypto users actually have a MetaMask wallet. I think what you want to do is like you want to appeal to like the masses. I think once we've like tried out the product and like validated some of the mechanics of it, and we want to go beyond the local, your native crypto people, I think that's when we would want to incorporate more of these things like privy. Because we actually, what would be nice? I mean, think about it. Like, that would be really nice if you have like, yes, we might not be on the App Store, but you can go to the Safari on your iPhone, go to megapod.io, download it as an app, and then you can use you can on-ramp with your credit card, whatever. And under the hood, it just like makes all these, calls to the right chain, and, everything is abstracted, and you can buy a lottery ticket. Yes, a lot of
I
people
can actually imagine it even now, honestly. If I would come across Megapod.io and I would like to just try a lottery, probably the fastest way to do it for me, if I don't have ETH on Blast, would be just like on-ramp with credit card, buy a couple of tickets, and have, basically totally separate wallet for the money I'm going to lose anyway, which I can forget about after that. But I
Exactly,
tried.
exactly. I think I think to onboard people, you have like a good onboarding experience, like on-ramping experience. But like to off-ramp, now you need to export your wallet. Now you need to like understand how like crypto works. So like if you're losing, sure, like who cares? Like you can throw in like $5 here and there. But if you're winning, okay, now you got to export your keys and, make sure everything is like, you get your money out of Blast and all of that. So,
right. Yeah. It needs some abstraction there as well. It's like, at least, how to send it to some other wallet. But I'm working with a project which is dealing with this right now. So it's all fun experience. All looks nice when people talk about it, and then it doesn't look that nice in real life just yet. But it's coming, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
So I posed the question at the very beginning. So is this even legal? Do you guys need some state approvals? Is the FBI coming after you because you are running a lottery without permission, or how does that work?
I will be very honest with you. It's a little TBD. We haven't like done too much investigation into this, but there's a couple of precautionary steps that we've taken. So one is that we've put a VPN, and you can only access it if you can't access it from US, you can't access from any of the OFAC countries. So that's like a like simple like measure, at least some basic protection that we have taken just to make sure that we're protected. I also think that at the end of the day, like this is a public good in some sense, right? Like we're not even making any money. We're like the contract is decentralized. Like the contract can run on its own. It doesn't really need us. So, and like you have like state-run lotteries anyways. I think that at the end of the day, there's like some permissionless factor to it that makes it interesting, and it's transparent. I mean, you can argue that, lotteries are not good for people or whatever, but this is transparent. This is transparent lottery, and like if there's any lottery that you can trust, you should trust this one as opposed to even like the state-run ones. I don't know if I would trust them. Like I don't know what's happening there. But everything it's very transparent. Like everything is running on the chain. You can verify the contracts. Like we use Entropy by Bits Networks, so we generate a random number using their service, and it's like a very like they have like a full like explanation of how their service works. So yeah, I mean the legal side.
Cool. Well, thank you for the honest answer. I think the TBD is probably the best possible answer, because I honestly think, it's probably the best approach, especially on the on things which may have some issues later on. Because when you're small, nobody cares. When you grow big, at least you can pay
It's
for it.
true.
Right now, you would just be stuck with lawyers, and everybody would probably be saying, well, you should do this and that, and it would cost a lot of money, and you wouldn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
we
to be
may have
clear,
to cut this part out.
we're talking with lawyers, by the way. It's not like we're not like engaging with them at all. Like but I guess the question that I ask myself, and this is not necessarily something that, I mean, I don't know, this is more on the personal side. I mean, the question that I ask myself is like, you have all these lotteries. People are interested in lotteries. I don't know if there's like anything morally wrong about, doing a lottery thing. And
No, I
at the very
think,
least, it's
you
like,
are asking logical question, but the state rules are not always logical, so they run in
for
different
sure.
directions very often.
For sure. That's exactly my question. Like I think at the end of the day, this is the most transparent lottery that can exist. Yeah, we can talk about
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but
Maybe all lotteries should be on chain later. Who knows?
there should be. A lot of things
Okay.
should be on chain.
Yeah, we can talk about it some other time. So, ASDF, your last chance to basically say whatever you want to say to the potential viewers. Where they should find you, and what should they do?
Cool. Yeah. So you can find me 0xASDF_ETH on Twitter, 0xASDF on Farcaster. Megapod.io is the website, and you should go check it out. Use our product, and you can follow us Megapod_IO on Twitter and slash on Farcaster channel. And yeah, would love to like hear any feedback, anything that, even if you absolutely hate the product, like I would want to know why do you hate it so much? But yeah, please try it out. Like just anything really. We just launched. We're looking for feedback. We're looking for like people to like, give us, talk about us, or like do anything. Yeah. Just curious to hear all of that.
Well, you heard it, guys and girls. It was great having you, SDF. Thank you for putting the lottery out into the wild. And if you guys are looking for fun, or maybe better APR on your funds, check the megapod.io. I'll put, of course, all the links in the show notes, and I'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends, you know the drill. Have a great day or evening, everybody. It was great having you.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a great day.